Hey everybody, Brian Batko and Ray Fittipaldo here from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Welcome back to another Steelers training camp recap video brought to you by Savinas, Kane, and Gallucci, mesothelioma and asbestos lawyers. Over 85 years of experience. Call them now for a free consultation. Ray, a lighter day of practice today. A little bit of rain played havoc with the beginning of it. Lightning too. I think they got off to a bit of a late start. But for the team, not quite as taxing after a very physical Friday night lights practice at Latrobe Memorial Stadium, one that claimed, at least for a day, inside linebacker Patrick Queen was sidelined after getting dinged up in that one, I think. And, obviously some other guys sitting out as they typically do. I wanted to start with this one, though. A guy who just continues to make plays, seems to maybe be solidifying himself for the number two receiver role on this team. Van Jefferson, I don't know about you, Ray. I mean, he's kind of become an afterthought a little bit in the NFL. He may have his swagger back after being signed in the offseason by the Steelers.
Yeah, Brian, he had a really good year in 2021, the year the Rams won the Super Bowl. But since then, the last two seasons, kind of been up and down. He was with the Rams, then got traded to the Falcons. Obviously, there's a connection there with Arthur Smith. So Arthur feels comfortable with him. And I think, obviously, the way the reps have been distributed up here in the first 2 weeks and the way Van Jefferson has played, I don't think there's any doubt right now, barring a trade that's, hey, could still happen, right? But those talks have kind of died down, the Brandon Ayuk and Debo Samuel stuff. So barring a trade, I think he's solidly the number two right now. And once Roman Wilson comes back, I think we'll find out who 3, 4, and 5 is. But I don't think there's any doubt that he and George Pickens are the starters right now.
Yeah, I mean, coming into camp, I think there were a lot of people wondering, would Van Jefferson claim that role? Would Roman Wilson be able to get up to speed quick enough as a rookie? Would Calvin Austin maybe, be able to year three take that leap? Or even would somebody like Quez Watkins kind of come
Yeah,
in as a dark horse and be that guy? But Jefferson, to me, has made the most plays when given the opportunity. At pretty much every time they line up in a two wide receiver set, it's him and George Pickens with
yeah.
the first team offense. I mean, I thought in the spring, saw some drops here and there, wondered about the inconsistency. I'd say he's cleared that up, Ray. And I mean, again, there's plays where, you before you see the number, I sort of think to myself, was that George Pickens? No, actually, that was Van Jefferson hauling that one in
Yeah.
deep downfield.
Other than the Roman Wilson injury, I don't think there's any reason to have any kind of doubts about this receiving core. Quez Watkins made a nice TD catch in a team period today. Calvin Austin and Scotty Miller both make plays.
Des Fitzpatrick's another guy who I think, I mean, he has some drops here and there, but he shows up at times too with some really nice
and
catches.
Arthur Smith mentioned him by name last week when he talked to us. One of the few practice squad guys that Arthur mentioned
Yeah.
by name. But when the pads come off, Brian, I like to watch the smaller guys, and they did some one-on-one receiver defensive back drills today. Calvin Austin and Scotty Miller were excellent. I mean, that drill is really made for them. But they have quicks. You get them the ball in short areas, and they can really make stuff happen. So I don't know how it's going to shake out, like 3, 4, 5, 6, how many receivers they're going to keep. But Calvin Austin, Scotty Miller, Quez Watkins, all those guys have made plays so far here this camp.
And it also might always come down to who's doing the most on special teams and able to provide some value in that way with that roster spot. But I'm with you, Ray. I think Calvin Austin's finding ways to use his speed and quickness more this year to his advantage. And yeah, Jefferson, it's easy to forget. He was a second round pick back in 2020. So he's
Yeah.
got the physical attributes and the skills that people look for from a raw receiver perspective in the NFL. Flipping to the other side of the ball, I think it was maybe the best defensive play on what is it through 7 or 8 practices of camp. Undrafted rookie slot corner Beanie Bishop out of West Virginia, a guy that I think a lot of people came into camp expecting him to have the best chance of any of the undrafteds to make this roster, not just because of the ball skills that he showed in college, the speed that he showed in the 40. I think he was in the 4.3 to 4.4 range. But Cam Sutton's 8-game suspension to start the season opened the door really wide for Bishop. He's been taking advantage of it. Did it again today. I think it was his first pick of camp. He was coming in on a slot blitz, and Justin Fields dropped back to throw. Bishop had the wherewithal about him to kind of stop, but also keep his momentum going. Stuck a hand up there, kind of a one-handed ability to pull it into
Yeah.
himself, and it would have been a short pick six because they're working on an offensive period backed up pretty far into their own territory.
Trying to paint the picture for the fans, it was almost like the TJ Watt play against Joe Burrow
Yeah.
a couple of years ago, where he just jumped up at the line of scrimmage, stopped his rush, and then just made a great play. So when you're able to catch a ball that's coming that fast, and you have that ability to to pick it off, it was really good. And he's done nothing but be solid out here. Um, Minka Fitzpatrick was talking about him after practice today. He said it's rare that an undrafted rookie is doing what he's doing. We should point out he's 24 years old, 6 years of college experience. So it's not like he's a raw 21, 22-year old. He's got some savvy to him. He's out there talking, he's communicating. So those are all things that are going to go in his advantage. It's an interesting decision for the Steelers. They have half a season to play without Cam Sutton. Cam Sutton's going to be a big part of that defense when he comes back. Do you go out and get like a vet to hold that down for a half a season, or do you trust a guy like Beanie Bishop who's played well so far?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what he does in the preseason action, Ray, but he is acquitting himself well thus far in these live practice periods. And he's a smaller guy, 5'8", 5'9", and like you said, kind of overaged. Those aspects hurt you come draft time, but they
Yeah.
help you when you get on the field if you get that opportunity in practice. And I think he did have 4 interceptions and 20-something PBUs last year for the Mountaineers.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I noticed that with the rookie offensive linemen this year as well. They're all older guys, and there's a certain amount of savviness to them. They know how to be professionals earlier than some of the other guys. So this draft class was a little bit unique in that way, and I think also the undrafted free agent class is unique in that way. Maybe it has something to do with the COVID years and all these guys coming back, the NIL money, but I think these guys are more experienced. I think they're ready to play, maybe more so than other generations. And I think we're seeing that with not only the rookie linemen, but guys like Beanie Bishop as well.
Yeah, Peyton Wilson too at
Yeah.
inside linebacker. He fell to the end of the third round because of a lot of that, but clearly he's been able to hit the ground running now that he's here. Not a whole lot of other updates. Russell Wilson still in that holding
Yeah.
pattern with the calf issue, throwing more 7-on-7. I think he looks good when he
Mm-hmm.
does that, but obviously the jury's out until we see him in a more real football like environment.
Yeah, and Brian, listen, they're going to practice again on Sunday, day off Monday, and then we're somewhat into a game week.
Yeah,
They're going to start prepping for the Texans, I think, on Wednesday and Thursday. So if Russell Wilson is not out there doing team stuff by Tuesday, I doubt that he's going to play in that first preseason game against the Texans. And then after that, the watch is on. You obviously want to see him, I think, twice with the starters. Not so much about him, but what's the chemistry like with George Pickens and some of the other receivers. So it's unfortunate that the first 2 weeks have unfolded this way, but I think if he can get in there next week, be a full participant, and then play against the Bills, I think that'll be good for him.
absolutely. Yeah, we'll turn the page tomorrow to Sunday, and maybe it'll be a little bit more of a livelier practice because it'll be coming before that off day. But yeah, after that, it's game week, that first preseason opportunity against the Texans right around the corner. For Ray Fittipaldo, I'm Brian Batko. Thanks as always for finding us here on the Post-Gazette YouTube page, the Steelers training camp practice roundups, and wherever you get your podcast. Thanks to Chris Carter for taping us here. We'll see you next time from St. Vincent College here in Latrobe.